Shalom, Akim, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodesh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. The body Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, forgive me this truth, and forgive me the inspiration and motivation to do this lesson. Yahweh being the true name of the Father, which means He is, He exists, He to be the existing one. Yahweh is the true name of the Father. Bahashem is in the name, and Yahweh Shah is the true name of the only begotten Son, which means He is the Savior or Deliverer of the nation of Israel, specifically the elected nation of Israel. Alright? And Yahweh Shah is the firstborn of every creature. You know, He is the Alpha and Omega. So yeah, Yahweh Shah being the name of the Son. Alright? So yeah, okay, we're gonna hop into these scriptures, demo on into the elders of GMS, and salute to Akim out there that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching and preaching this word about the mind, wild mouth, and sincerity and truth. I don't know what to say, we could be, founded and able to be delivered, but, for now we're gonna keep it pushing, alright? So, let's see what scriptures we can start off with, man. I'm gonna open up to the book of, Second Ezra, alright? Let's get into that, man. So we're gonna hop right into it. This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 2 and verse 42. We're gonna start at 42. Alright. Yep, the second book of Ezra, chapter 2, verse 42, and it says, it reads, I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that had put off the mortal clothing, and had put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of the Most High. Now are they crowned and receive palms. Verse 46, Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the son of Yahweh, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord, Yahweh Shah. Verse 48, Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way and tell my people what manner of things and how great wonders of the Lord thy God thou hast seen. Where I started is at verse 42, and that great man in the midst is Yahweh Shah, man, which is gonna be more exalted above the angels, and taller than all the rest, alright? So right now, us brothers that's preaching this gospel of peace, this doctrine of life, listen, we're putting on the immortal, man, and Lord willing, the 144,000 can receive the palms real soon, and that's definitely going to be fulfilled in the Lord's time, So, yeah, man, all praises be to Yahweh Shah, man, that giveth us the victory, man. Yahweh Shah is literally going to have the smell of victory out here, man. And we're going to, rejoice in Yahweh Shah, man. The the elect are gonna rejoice when they receive a crown on their head, basically a crown of life. Whether that be a crown of righteousness, a crown of glory, a crown of life, wherever it may be, But, once a man of the Lord that's in this truth, that's putting in the work, giving diligence, he's going to receive a crown of life. And a crown of life means basically everlasting life, man. And that's beautiful. Because once one inherits everlasting life, that means you get to basically enjoy you basically have to have the heathen for thine own inheritance, the earth in your possession, and then also just, you get to do things, man. So this is definitely a reward given up to the elect, man. I don't want to say, okay, all right. So yeah, we're gonna go into the book of, the prayer of Azaria, chapter 1 and 20. I'll finish off with this. All right. It reads, because the elect are gonna receive crowns, Akim. All right. And Lord willing, because hey, that's gonna happen soon. And remember, brothers, we're put on earth to set forth acts of righteousness, and through these spiritual conversations, man, things are happening, man. So remember, Akim, maintain this truth and also abide by faith, man. Because that's what I'm here for, man. I feel like that's what the Lord put me here for, to be, peaceful, to remain humble, peaceful amongst my people, my brethren, right? So, but calm, man, and, we ought to remain, very peaceful and very humble, man. And the duty of us men should be, to inform the youth, man, and this is what, we ought to do, man, So, usually I'm the guy that, likes to remain honest, I like to remain honest, man, So, I like to remain honest amongst my friends, loyal to my people, and, yeah, man, and, remember, you elect out there, man, listen, you're going to be able to, enjoy the work of your hands, man, and the fruit of your labor, man. It's going to happen, man. We're going to enjoy the work of our hands and the fruit of our labor, And this is, what we're pushing forward for, So, yeah, man, more willing in the future, these things happen. All right, Akim? So, and, I'm always going to be that type of, I'm always going to be that type of brother, to kind of, like, always find a way to, like, prevail and overcome, So, at the end of the day, I got to do the will of the Lord, The will of the Lord, if it's the will of the Lord to have me, to obey commands and accept correction, I'm willing to do it, So, you all can always remember, learn to do good, learn to, remain, remain truthful, and, yeah, man. All right, Alkin? So, yeah, man, remain truthful, all right? Because this earth is gonna yield its increase, it's gonna, this earth, this entire earth, the fruit, everything, man, the plants, the trees, everything's gonna yield its fruit, man. I don't want this all happen soon, man. The Lord hastened it, in our time, because, we got the kingdom coming, man. The scripture talks about the kingdom of heaven at hand, man, so, but, we're going to see who gets the victory in that day, because, us fellow Akim, us fellow servants, we might, seem like, we're short among these people, but, the Lord is dealing with, the meek and the humble, man, and, I feel like he's going to be the, those are going to be the ones to be raised up, the meek and the humble, the ones that seem as short amongst their brethren, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you fellow Akim, man, keep pushing strong, Lord willing, we remain strong, because we're going to see who's mighty in that day, we're going to see, but, the Lord is definitely going to, make a way out for us, because, all right, so, And that's what we ought to do, us fellow servants of Yahweh by Yahweh Shah, we ought to, remain faithful, right? So, and I know a lot of things goes, unnoticed and unheard of, but, we gotta keep, we gotta, you know, we gotta stay strong somehow, man, So, I'm gonna pretty much finish off with, this right here. This is, the prayer of Azariah, chapter 1, verse 20, and it reads, Deliver us according, it reads, Deliver us also according to thy marvelous works, and give glory to thy name, O Lord, and let all them that do thy servants hurt be ashamed, right? So, but, at the end of the day, listen, the Lord got the elect protected, and, just make sure, you, brothers, man, you pray for one another, man, because there's always a way possible, there's always a way possible to, get the victory, and, so this is what we're pushing forward for, man, so we praying to the Lord, that he delivers us, according to his marvelous works, because, hey, the Lord, he's gonna, he's gonna glorify himself too, the Lord is gonna do his thing, he's gonna perform, because he's the Ancient of Days. So the Lord is gonna, and why not? Because, hey, the majesty of his throne, man, and then also, hey, but the majesty of his throne, and then, with us, us fellow alchemy, we love to magnify the name of the Lord. So how much more, when the Lord does his thing, so, we gonna let the Lord do his thing, and only the future will tell, only it will reveal itself, but that's what we're looking forward to, Akim. So, I'm pretty much stop it there, and I'm pretty much, finish off by, saying shalom to the elect. Alright, Yahweh Shem Rashah, Barakatam to the elect, man. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Rashah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Rashah, Ba'ashem, Merkah, Kadash, man. Yo, man, shalom to the elect, man. Shalom, Barak, and Labakarim, Shal Yasha'Allah, we almost home, man. Hey, one day closer, man, we almost home, alright? So with that, I'm gonna finish off by saying shalom.